Week 3 of building a startup until we have a 9-figure exit or we fail miserably. The biggest lesson this week, I would say, is knowing what not to build. So I was sitting in a cigar lounge with a few of my friends who have either development shops, dev agencies themselves, or work in the technical field. And a topic of discussion came around AI, Claudebot, and all the different projects that we have going. And we realized that there's so much that a person can build right now, and it's so tempting to build things from scratch, that your biggest advantage is thinking strategically and doing what you feel is gonna acquire you revenue versus improving the business operationally in a space where someone is already building something. Just because you can build doesn't mean you should be building something, which creates the question of, is ContentStash even worth building? And we believe at this time, the answer is yes. And we expect our competition to be popping out at any time now. So far, I haven't seen anyone having the same thesis as us. A lot of people are doing very similar things, but not quite in the way that we see content production being done, but not quite in the way that we're approaching the problem with content for B2B consultants, podcasters, and content creators. Right now, we're bottlenecked pretty hard. Our goal to post twice a day has not been successfully reached for most of the month. And a large of it is on me to make it as easy for our editing team as possible to provide them with all the material. So I've spent, I would say, the past 2 to 3 weeks playing around with Claudebot and figuring out a way to provide the images and provide the videos using generation models such as Kling 2.6 as well as Flux 2 Max in order to pre-generate the images and the videos for the editors to edit, for us to really get the volume of content out there, to get feedback from the market as to what kind of content they even want to see in the first place. And I believe I finally cracked the code when it comes to creating that content through the Claudebot. And why is this so important? It's because these portions of the Claudebot that we've built out, we're going to include within what ContentStash offers. So in a sense, we're pre-building what we're using ourselves through the Claudebot in its very nascent beta stages. I would say altogether I spent around 40 hours so far trying to configure my Claudebot. And if you're curious as to how I've built it, what are my lessons, I've learned a lot in the process. Even as the one dealing with marketing, I found the time to be very valuable, but there were key lessons in there. Had I known those lessons before, I would have saved myself a shitload of time. And here's the thing, it works right now, but the reason why I spent so much time was because I'm essentially building it like a house of cards. You change one thing within that code, and all of a sudden, you're back to zero. You're back to debugging, you're back to asking Claude and asking your Claudebot to, or OpenClaw, whatever you want to call it, to unfuck itself. Because you are vibe coding something without a knowledge of how to create structures and systems and the foundation for it to memorize and do things and call for APIs in a certain way, where you change one thing, it's like a block of Jengas. You pull one Jenga and the whole thing just falls apart and you have to restart. And that's what the majority of those 40 hours was I would get it working for 5 minutes and then I would adjust one thing and then it all falls apart again. As of right now, it's working, fingers crossed. We're gonna be producing even more content moving forward, but who knows what's gonna happen next week. While I was screwing around with OpenClaw, ended up interviewing, I believe, 4 more founders or people within the podcasting space. So our wait list went from 0 to a total of 8 as of this week between everyone that we've interviewed. And this is without any ads, without any funnels. This is us just doing organic LinkedIn outreach, coupled with me interviewing a few people from my personal circle of founders and business owners. We also signed on another clinic on Caesar Health side that uses an EMR called EasyDerm, and we're pushing for an EasyDerm partnership. And things are moving at a fairly good pace with Caesar Health, considering that we're running on 0 ad spend. What flopped this week? Definitely time management. I am late on my taxes. There's a lot of logistical work to do. There's more people to hire. Hicksfield ended up failing me when it came to the APIs. For some reason, some platforms have better APIs than others. I know it's a silly thing to say, but you can do everything right from your end and things just will continue to fall apart on the tech side because of one reason or another, the tool that you use can't handle those API callouts. And so I'm a big fan of Higgsfield. I love the wide selection of models that they have, but when it came to the API side, completely flopped. I had to switch from Higgsfield to FAL for the video production. So that took away quite a bit of my time. So next week, my priority is to get more volume of content out there. I haven't been posting enough on my personal brand as well as on ContentStash. And I might even switch all the podcasts over to my personal brand as opposed to keeping it on ContentStash, or I'll post them both. We shall see. The question for you this week is, are you working on any kind of OpenClaw, CloudBot, or AI bot equivalent? And if so, what has your experience been like? And should I share a video on the OpenClaw setup and how we've approached the challenge with content through OpenClaw? Comment below.